Alright everybody, we're going to talk about our triple exposure here. We're going to get these three pictures that you've taken and we're going to combine them together. So remember, you've got a photo of yourself and then you have two additional photos that are going to be brought in. So these can be pictures that you've taken in the past, or you can go and purposely take pictures that work for what you want to do. So I've got two pictures here from past trips that I've been on. One to Chicago and one to Paris, and got the photo of myself here. So it's important for the picture of yourself to have a blank background, or just a background that isn't very complicated. It makes it a little bit easier for selecting yourself out that way. Alright, so then to get to Pixlr, we've got the link on Schoology, but you can just click right on there and get your Pixlr website opened up. This is how it starts with. You kind of get to the main site here, but then you'll want to head over to Pixlr E, and I've already got some versions of the project that I was working on. To bring in your first picture, all you need to do is go to your files and drag it on in. I'd suggest starting with the photo of yourself. Okay, and from there we're going to start to select ourselves out. Now you can try to get lucky and use this magic wand select, in which case we'll try to select ourselves or the background. You'd want to add to selection if you didn't get all of what you wanted in there. Sometimes this can work well. Since I was wearing a gray shirt, it does not work very well for what we need to do. So I'm going to go ahead and deselect there, and I'm going to take a little bit longer to do my selection by using the lasso tool here. So I can click on there. I think I'll probably use this magnetic lasso. So what that'll allow me to do is start my selection, and I'm not pressing and holding here. I've just started by clicking once, and I can work all the way around myself here. While I'm doing that, I'll just explain what we're planning on doing with the rest of the images. So after I get the selection of myself, I'm going to get rid of that gray background by inversing the selection and just hitting delete on the keyboard. But then it's going to be up to me how I want to combine the other two pictures. So I think what I'll probably do with that Eiffel Tower picture is just do the same kind of selection like I'm doing right now, and select that out from the sky and have that in as a layer on top of the version of me. And then I'll use that other image, which was from Chicago, and I'll have that be the image that I use kind of in the background behind my my version of myself. So I've got to move this video of me to be able to get this selection to work. So if you end up having a little misselect here, you can always add to or subtract from your selection. So I'll go back to the start here, and you'll see I've got that little extra edge there. So I'll click the remove from selection, or you could hold control on your keyboard. And I'm going to zoom in here and deselect this area that I didn't want. So see, I just kind of did a loop there, and I double clicked to get that to go away. There we go. I can always clean things up a little bit later too using the eraser tool, but I wanted to get rid of this little gap right there. And there we go. So now that I've got myself selected, I actually want to get rid of the background rather than me. So if I were to hit delete right now, that would get rid of me, okay? I don't want to do that. So Control Z to undo, select, and then I'm going to do invert selection. Then I'll hit delete. Okay? Pretty clean selection overall. In case I need to use this later on, I'm going to save selection. Okay? So that way I don't need to redo it if I need to, possibly change things around a little bit later. Then I'm going to go ahead and deselect. So on your keyboard you can do Control D, or you can go up to select here and do deselect. Okay? If there's some areas that you need to make a little bit nicer, I noticed on my version myself, I've got that that area right on the back part of my head here that should be deleted. I can go over to the eraser tool, which is right here, and I can use that to delete away some extra stuff. Okay, that can also be nice if you have like a little bit of a fringe around your hair of the background that still is showing up. All right, so let's do our next image. I'm gonna have these random ads that start up here on the bottom section of the screen, unfortunately. I'll move this up over here. So then I'm gonna bring in, why don't I do the Eiffel Tower next? I'm gonna click Add to Current, so I just dragged it in, right? I'm gonna use this arrow tool, which will allow me to move it, and I am going to actually just rotate it. I'm going to zoom way out on my screen here so that I've got some space to expand the Eiffel Tower and kind of just move it off to the side. So I think I'm just going to bring this in as a layer like this. So it'll kind of just be right around me. I've just got to get rid of the sky now. So now I'm going to try this magic wand select because I think that sky will actually work pretty well to do that. Okay, nice. Hit delete. I can do deselect. Okay, so I got the Eiffel Tower in there. This is really rough so far. I'm going to bring in my last layer, and that's going to be my background layer. So I'm actually going to unlock the version of me just by double clicking on that lockbox. Then I'll bring in this last city picture. Add to current. And then I want to bring this in underneath me, so I just dragged that and brought it in underneath. Alright, so next up what I'm going to do is decide on some layer blending modes, because that's going to change how the image looks. So I decided that I'm going to take the Eiffel Tower and I'm going to change that to a different blending mode. I hit that little 3-dot symbol right there that's on the layer, and I can change that to one of these options. I want you to just test out to see what you think would be nice. So sometimes an overlay can be nice, sometimes it's nice to use hard light, sometimes soft light. You can decide what looks best for you. Combining these three images together, you're just, the more images that you use, you're starting to kind of create new meaning in your picture, because it's not just a portrait of you, but maybe you plus some interests that you have, or some history that you have, like places that you've been to, things that you've seen. So I think I'm going to stick with screen. I kind of like how it works that way. Screen normally just gets rid of anything that's black. You can change how see-through something is with the transparency as well. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to click on the version of myself. And I think what I'm going to do is just try out some different blending modes on that as well. I think overlay is usually a good one. Let's see what hard light, that actually is pretty cool too. So what that's going to allow me to do is to see through to that background layer. Okay, from there the sky's the limit for what you want to do. So with my 3 layers, I could edit the layers to make them look a little bit differently. So I could click on this background layer, for example, and I could do an adjustment to change how that picture looks. Like maybe I want to work a little bit with the hue and saturation, and I can change the hue of the background layer to be something totally different. You can click apply to see how that affects the image. Or we could add in an additional layer on top of everything. So what if I add in just a color on top? You can do that with a shape, or you can do that with a blank layer that you then paint on or paste in a color on. So here is a shape, and I can change that to a different kind of color. Maybe I want to add like a green hue to everything. And then I can change the blending mode on this one to something like color. Allow me to see through, and now I've got like a green look to everything on my image. Okay. If you wanted to, if you're happy with how everything looks except maybe the brightness of your whole picture, you could add in an adjustment on top of everything that is going to affect everything below. So now what I could do actually is just flatten the image first. So layer, maybe flatten the image, and then I can do an adjustment like levels, and I can adjust kind of the overall look of the picture that way. Sometimes you've got to wait just a little while to see things make their change, just because when you have a really large image and you're kind of working through the pixeler system, it may not show up right away. Okay, so once you're totally done with how things look the way that you want, we're just going to go to File, and we're going to export it. So export as an image, PNG. That's going to show up in your downloads folder, and you'll have that to be able to turn in. Usually that automatically saves, but you could click on save. You know, if you want something other than PNG, you could save it as a JPEG and download it that way. That might be a good way to go to for this project. I'm pretty sure PNGs work just as well as JPEGs for turning in on Schoology. So hopefully that was helpful. Now feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about how to go about this project.